Hi guys, welcome back. After many days of rain, we've actually got a sunny day today, which is going to help with the light. So I'm a little bit in the shade because if I'm directly in the sunlight, the watch becomes a little bit too shiny. So what we have here is a very recent purchase. I've been after a Sekonda for some time. I wanted a vintage one. I wanted the one which was made back in Russia, USSR. Because Sekonda is actually a British company that made British designed watches from the 60s, made in Russia, in Leningrad and Moscow, until around early 90s, where they started making watches in the Far East, I think China, with quartz movements. Well, I used to work in Ratner's. I was actually trainee manager at Ratner's when I was 19, back in the early 90s. So we used to sell a lot of Sekondas, and Sekondas was, I think, British top-selling brand for watches for many years. They used to have a catch line that went something like, "Beware of expensive imitations." So they were designing watches that kind of looked like premium watches at the time, but for a much cheaper price point. And on the whole, they were pretty good, robust watches, not terribly high quality, but they looked the part and they worked pretty well. And I never actually owned a Sekonda. I mean, I handled many, sold many. I preferred Seiko at the time because really Sekonda, although it was a cheap make, along with that, it was a little bit, how do we say, it wasn't what you aspire to have. So they made great watches, but you wanted something better. You were looking to own a Seiko or perhaps a Citizen, something like this. I mean, in Ratner's, we didn't sell anything that expensive. We never sold any of the premium brands. I think Raymond Vale was the most expensive watch brand that we sold. I didn't particularly like the styles of those. So anyway, I digress. This Sekonda was very grotty when I bought it. I paid £7 for it on eBay. And that was its minimum price, £7. And I think that's why I won it. Because people sometimes are put off by slightly higher starts. So if it had started at 99p, it would have probably gone a lot more. But because it started at £7, it didn't attract any bids. And it was actually advertised as working, which it is. It's slightly temperamental. Yesterday, it went a little bit slow and it did stop a couple of times, but I gave it a wound and overnight it's kept pretty much perfect time and it's still going. So it seems to have settled down. It was very grotty when I first got it as well. I'll see if I can put a picture up, although it probably won't show you. But the strap itself was very dirty. So dirty, I took it off. I took the strap off and using a toothbrush, warm soapy water, really going at it. The amount of crapola that came out of this watch strap was pretty horrifying. It's a lot cleaner than it was when I first got it. Also, this bit at the end fell off. It's like some kind of extension. It wasn't put on properly. I'm not quite sure what that is. I think you can see this piece of strap is slightly different to that piece of strap. It hooked on, but I had to use my grips and kind of squeeze the links. So I think at some stage that strap's been extended. So this watch will have dated from the 1970s. I'll just zoom into the... As you can see, it's 17 jewels. Right at the bottom, if I tip it up, you can see that it says USSR. So this watch was manufactured in Russia, either in Leningrad or Moscow. Now, it's actually not bad quality. I think we have got a stainless steel back. The case, I'm not 100% sure if this is a base metal that's been chromed or it's solid stainless steel, but looking at the edge, there's a little bit of chipping which looks darker. And I didn't want to go too heavy when I was polishing it, just in case I go through what could be a chrome plated or some kind of plating on the case there. The crystal was pretty heavily scratched. I've managed to get out vast majority of them using whitening toothpaste and a microfiber cloth. If I get the back off, I will show you the movement, which to me was quite surprising, the quality. As you can see, it's got a screw-in ring here that holds in a middle section, and the seal, the original seal, is still there. And you have the serial number on the back. Make sure we're focused. So these two pieces come out like that. And I was quite surprised at the quality. Let's get it up the right way round. Ooh, I'm trying to get a little bit more light. I said it was sunny today, but now the clouds are coming over, spoiling the sunlight. 17 joules. SU could be Soviet Union, not 100% sure, on the left there. And we have another serial number on the right, which is probably the movement number. Not sure if it corresponds with that. No, it doesn't. Sorry, I'm looking at that. And it's working very nicely. And to my layman's eye, it's not bad quality. I've seen a lot worse in some of these cheaper kind of Timex type movements that you see in some of these Swiss watches that have got Swiss on them, but they're certainly not a high Swiss standard. They sold a lot of these kind of cheaper mechanical watches back in the early 70s. And I would say this is actually looking to be higher quality than a lot of those that I've dealt with in the past. So let's pop that back on. Okay, so the back has a little kind of locating lug for the centre bit. There's that seal. That did actually fall out last time I took the back out. You can see it's yellowed by age. There's a little kind of, I think it's rubber or some kind of plastic seal. It's quite nice. That just sits in the middle there with this little location lug, so you can't get that wrong. And then you have this compression, well, not compression, but this ring which is going to compress that all down onto that seal to give it, I guess, some kind of water resistance, although there are no water resistance details on this watch, so I don't think it has got any water resistance to it. Not stated anyway, there's no stated water resistance, but perhaps it's splash proof because it's got a seal on the back. I'm not going to try that out. So give that a bit of a close. And the funny thing is, this watch was a bit like a bus. I was looking for a long time to find a decent vintage one that wasn't too expensive. And I've bought another one. The first one I bought was this one, and then another one came up exactly the same, but it has a leather strap and it's not working, and I paid a little bit less for it, so I'm just waiting for that to come. I think it's exactly the same. It may be slightly different, but I think it looks pretty much exactly the same watch, so I'm going to end up with two of them. I'll probably keep one and sell the other. Okay, so I'll show you on my wrist. Today I'll just put this vintage Rex Hora on, and you can see that this is quite a small watch. This is about 32mm across, where this is quite a bit bigger. Yeah, this one is about 36mm across. So my 6.5-inch wrist, it's a really lovely size. I like the style. It's very much of its time. So I have to see when I get the next one, when that arrives, see if I can get that going. This one I haven't had to do anything to the mechanism whatsoever. I quite like that it's got a bit of patina to it. I like the second hand, which is red. Has got it's missing some of the paint. So that second hand would have been red, and over the years I think that's dropped off. I'm trying to show you that. I think that's what it is. Well, unless that's rust spots and it was all blue. Not sure now. No, I think it's red. The camera isn't picking it up, but when I just looked, I glanced at the watch, not at the screen, I'm seeing a redder red. So I think it was red and it's lost some of the paint. So there you go. You can get yourself a vintage Sekonda USSR for not a lot of money, £7 working. I think that was quite a good deal. And that's a wearable watch, even today. It's a lot larger than the small one I was just put on earlier. Pretty much just wearing this, gave it a wind. So you've gone from something from the 1950s to the 1970s. It's great to see the difference in style. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, it helps the channel. And keep tuned for further vintage watch videos. Take care.